Hello and welcome to another episode of HEX Therapy Live. I'm your host, Maddie ALLin, and I'm excited to talk with you tonight about sudden wealth syndrome, about 6 ways to believe you deserve sudden wealth. We've had a surplus of millionaires being made in the HEX crypto community and a lot of people who would like to be millionaires. And the difference between HEX and other cryptocurrencies is that HEX has done a 4,000x in the past year and a half. No other cryptocurrency has performed so well in the same amount of time, except for maybe Bitcoin in its early days. You know, back when you had to know how to send a money order to Japan to buy Bitcoin at a penny. And I know that somebody who I see here in the comments, thank you for the 1473 super chat. FutureUs.win has been helping me make a tool that makes it easier for people to buy HEX, even if they're new to it. And so people can go to tshare.app. We don't take a fee, and we want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to get into HEX and to get life-changing wealth. But not only that, there's more. We want everybody to be psychologically well. And so we're able to do that by hopefully helping people to prepare for your sudden wealth and to manage it once you get there. And so without any further ado, I'm excited to see everybody here. I'm excited to be going solo for y'all because I need to keep my skills up, being able to rant at the camera one-on-one. And so we're gonna do that here until Knights of the Crypto Roundtable go on, another one of my favorite shows, and then we'll take it from there. By the way, I wanted to shout out to all the other HEX streamers and just tell you how much I appreciate your content. Cabana Crypto was live earlier today, DJ Cryptomatic, Funding Jim, the In HEX Spanish crew, Discourse Syndicate, Richard Hart, of course, has been doing a stream, I would say 2 or 3 streams in the past week already. Joker, Big Pep, Johnny Chaos, David Feeder, Balliot Brand, Motley the Investor, Crypto Sparbach, Gerardo, Hex Tangent, TA, that's a good name too. FreedomTV.info, of course, my favorite people in Vegas and my favorite people to help put on HEX conferences. By the way, we've got the second annual HEX conference coming up here. Of course, the online version is going to be January 6th through 9th, which is the same dates that we did last year. And those are actually Joe Hexotic's sobriety dates. The person who helped me launch HEX Therapy and helped me put on the first HEX conference. And then the second half of the second annual HEX conference will be in person in Las Vegas, March 6th through 9th. More details to come. Dollar Cost Crypto, Ethereum Foundation, Day 43 OG, Gold Key, Whales Only, of course. Whales Only, Kareem and I stream Quanking, Randy Hilarski, Rooftop Musings, Dipcatcher, Naga Tribe, Hexologist, Hex Asians, Crypto Coffee, Blue Bum, Yash Deep, Barely Crafty, Unwrecked Pirate, 8-Bit Hex, Silver the Antidote, Joe Hexotic, Crypto Vince, and Hodl Dog. Ryan Lopez, Wave 3 TV. The list goes on and on. There's so many HEX streamers. You can learn more at hexstreamers.com. The community has put up this website that I'm not affiliated with, but I still like to promote it. And with that being said, as you can tell, one of the themes tonight is that I'm going to be pumping up the community because it turns out that's one of the cures for sudden wealth syndrome, or one of the coping mechanisms. Getting great wealth sounds pretty good. However, it doesn't take away all your problems. Money is not going to fix all your problems. And there are actually specific things that happen once you get your money right that usually people need help with in terms of not feeling disconnected from others, being able to stay grounded, coping with any emotional guilt or other unexpected emotions that come along with being suddenly wealthy. It's kind of like jackpot syndrome, right? Or something when people win the lottery, a lot of times it can ruin their relationships if they aren't prepared. And here we will be giving away the information for free as usual, and trying to help you have stronger hands, stronger prefrontal cortex, and much, much more. Welcome to HEX Therapy. And we're back. Okay, thanks for sticking around, everybody. Thanks for joining. We're Afghanistan, and I know a lot of others are saying, this is the stream I needed right now. Even the big man himself, Richard Hart, was doing an interview this week and came upon the topic of sudden wealth syndrome because there was, in fact, a Bitcoiner. Maybe he was into HEX too, but definitely somebody who has been rich in Bitcoin for a long time and wasn't even aware of the name sudden wealth syndrome, but immediately identified with it. And of course, Richard was explaining that myself and others in the community, are wanting to learn how to manage sudden wealth and wanting to become the best versions of ourselves possible. And that's really one of my big goals here is to help any way that I can. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Despide tu jefe. Yes, you have a big following as well. Thank you so much. Thanks for all you do, Maddie, and a bit of love from the Spanish-speaking Hexicans. That's right. Well, thank you for what you do. You guys have been getting lots of views, and I know it's a big deal that we reach every different country, every different language. Although tshare.app doesn't have enough devs yet, or is working on so many things, one thing that we were able to do, even though I don't think it's translated into any other languages, we were able to design the buy ETH part of the experience so that it'll pop up in MetaMask, whatever country you're in, it will recommend using that on-ramp. And so that was one of the decisions that we made once we realized that about half of the people who watch this channel are living outside the United States. It makes me so happy that we are, in fact, a worldwide community. Again, I'm going to be dropping the word community a lot here because Hexicans actually stick together and avoid drama and are really showing a better example, I think, than any other crypto that's come before us. I don't think people got as much hate really in Bitcoin. I wasn't there in 2011, 2012. But I think that there are a lot of similarities. I think Hex gets a lot of hate, and so we've kind of earned our community status, and now it's our chance to show everybody love. Crypto 303, good to see you here. It's worthwhile reading accounts by lottery winners. There's a difference between being rich and maintaining wealth. I can attest that the paranoia you experience is unexpected. That's correct. There's a whole list of symptoms that go along with sudden wealth syndrome. I actually did a survey, and there were hundreds of people, 150, and now our numbers have doubled or tripled. There are a lot of people out there who identify in Hex with experiencing sudden wealth. And that's what the charts tell us too. that the people who are in the Dolphin League in Stake are all millionaires now from HEX. What's up, Crypto Gains Club 369? Oh, that's right. Smash the likes and subscribe and hit the bell. It would really make me happy if y'all did that. I won't tell anybody to get out today because Hex Therapy is trying to help everyone. Crypto King, Silver Sailor. Boom. What's up, Hexicans? What's up, Crypto King? Thanks for advertising tshare.app. I know that because we don't take a fee, it really helps us when members of the community get the word out that this is an onboarding tool. And then some of you may have seen a tweet that I put out today, and I wanted to make sure everybody knows that at go.tshare.app, we have a chart of future market supply that allows you to stake. And I don't expect future work from others, but I hear that that could be improved even beyond what it is already, which is an extremely cool tool. I put up a video of me using it with a soundtrack on top of it of Richard saying that somebody should make this. And so I know that that's something that future us made, and it's really valuable. It's really cool to see, because what that's going to do is it's going to decrease the future volatility of the price of HEX, theoretically speaking. This is not financial or therapy advice. This is entertainment and free speech here. And so all I can say is it's my understanding that decreasing the future price volatility, that'd be something good for people in the future, including ourselves. If we're all still staked for 15 years, then we're going to decrease possibly. Of course, it's everybody's call. Everybody who's holding liquid HEX can decide when to sell it and how much of an emotional roller coaster you want to take your fellow Hexicans on, right? But not getting too attached to that number on the screen, those paper gains, but at the same time, understanding the what you have is extremely valuable, that it could appreciate a lot over time. But I think people get a lot of anxiety and sometimes feel frozen when they do have liquid HEX. And that's one thing I want to talk about tonight. And I want to hear from you, the audience, what are your strategies for coping with liquid HEX? Because if the price keeps doubling 10 or 11 times since you bought this stuff in the beginning, that's going to be hard to hold on to. It's going to be hard not to sell when you're at a 4,000x before staking. However, in Bitcoin, it seems like the best strategy was to buy and hold and to keep holding. So everybody's going to have to make their own decisions about how much they're going to want to sell HEX and sell for what. But the topics that we'll get into today are going to go beyond just money, right? It's going to go into something a little bit more than that, which is your community, your relationships, how you think about yourself, right? The best way to have a better relationship with other people is to have a better relationship with yourself, right? And so I was at my brother's wedding over the weekend, and I got to give a little speech about that, about self-care, self-esteem, and these beliefs that we have about ourselves, right? And our social environment. This is all what decides our future behavior in many ways. And I'm using the word environment very liberally here, you know, in the scientific sense of your social environment, right? Your people, places, and things. And so picking the right people to be in your life and having the right self-care really gives people the energy that they need to do well in life and do well in relationships, right? Healthy relationships take a lot of energy and can be something that energizes you if you have the right people and the right self-care involved. So I appreciate everybody here in the comments. I've got my list of 6 things might evolve into a list of 9 things. Of course, in Hex we like 3, 6, and 9, not only because they're superior numbers, but that's what our daily payouts are denominated in 3.69 inflation. Everybody saying hello. Good to see familiar names and new names here in the chat. Try tshare.app. It's a great place to start. Thank you. I think it is. It's going to take you to download MetaMask, which is a secure wallet in the Ethereum ecosystem. Half. Wow, that's surprising. Yeah, I know. It's amazing how many people, how many Hex millionaires watch this show. And it's amazing how high the engagement is on this channel. You know, YouTube must be shitting their pants when they look at our numbers in Hex. It's probably the same for Discourse Syndicate, probably the same for Hexologists, definitely for Richard Hart, right? But when I put a survey out there on YouTube, one of these surveys that people see pop up, I mean, we're getting 500 people answering some of these surveys. There's only like, what, 2,500 subscribers or something? So those rates are off the chart. I mean, normal engagement is supposed to be 1% of 1% or something like that. So if you guys do see those surveys, go ahead and answer them. But even without me saying that all the time, we have such high engagement. I think that's because people have been rewarded by educating themselves, making their own financial decisions, and then coming back to get more skills, to get their dose of Hex therapy, which is, for me, the therapy is already built into Hex, right? Hex is, it's a life extension technology, right? And I've been saying this for months. Maybe I haven't said it in months, but it's true, right? When you create huge incentives for yourself 15 years into the future, and you incentivize humans to be able to save for their future, then they're going to end up taking better care of themselves. And that's what we've found. And there have been a number of people who have come to me from the community and said, I didn't believe you at first. I heard you on Hex Therapy in the early days talking about how I'm going to start taking better care of myself, and I didn't believe you. I thought that you were just talking about 2 things you were so excited about, mental health and Hex. But I think now people are starting to believe that this is a real thing. This is an emergent property of Hex and of staking, right? Of saving for your future, sending money to your future self in the 4th dimension of time. It's a new phenomenon, and it's the immutability of the Hex contract that allows that to happen. It's math, like Wales Only says, and Cream. They both have a lot of great points. People should watch Quant Gang on Tuesday nights, our most popular show. Mathematical facts, and Hex is the only finished product in crypto. It's not a promise coin. It's not like Bitcoin where everybody has to agree what the rules are and the monetary policy going forward. No, monetary policy is set. And you can read about the rules of the Hex smart contract at mattyall.in. It's going to take you to all my links, and you can scroll down to the tools section, and you will find a link to the Hex smart contract on Etherscan, as well as 2 different guides to understanding the Hex smart contract. Hello, Hex family, Hexican fam. I'm still getting haters, but much less. Definitely. It's surprising with the therapy angle. I guess I haven't gotten as many haters, except when I did a giveaway. When I did a giveaway, there were lots of haters, but really with Hex, everybody wins. Let's see, and some squids. Some squids are millionaires now too. Yeah, and honestly, I don't want to make predictions because I don't know what the price of Hex is going to do. Could go down a lot. That'd be good because then people can buy it cheaper. Could go up a lot, and that would be good. because then more people will have sudden wealth and be able to learn how to cope with it. And but I think even those really low leagues, I mean, 1 trillion shares is going to be a lot someday. I mean, in like, I don't know, 50 or 100 or 200 years, even the richest person in the world isn't going to be able to buy 1 trillion shares, right? Because HEX is deflationary. So, we got some time. We got whales only. We got Gerardo. We got lots of people who are interested in data here in the HEX community. So I think we'll continue to get more and more fascinating data about what the future market supply of HEX is going to be. Like I said, you can look on go.tshare.app to learn more about the future market supply. It's going to zoom you in to like just the part around where you're staking and be able to, put your thumb in the right place on mobile. Or if you want to get a bigger picture of what's going on, you can go to hex.vision. And that's a very powerful site that shows future market supply as well. I haven't realized any wealth because it's all locked up. LOL, Hexicans rule. That's right. So for a lot of people, you don't have the problem of asking yourself every day or every minute, like, oh, should I sell right now? And that can be stressful, right? Because especially if you're prone to regretting your sells, which is why I recommend that people have a plan. Whether you stick to it or not, that's okay. But just having a plan is going to make you feel a little bit better. And staking actually incentivizes you to have a plan. You have a plan, right? Lawrence Miller has a plan because you have your HEX locked up and you probably know when it's coming out. I'm really looking forward to having a guest on the show, Hex Monkey, to talk about how he is managing his anxiety by having a set schedule to take out money from HEX every 2 weeks, right? And that's like a paycheck. And so even if he thinks the price is going to go up, in order to manage anxiety, he still sells the amount that he was planning to every 2 weeks. And I want to hear more about different people's strategies and how different people are approaching the mental health aspect within this new space of future market supply, within this new space of 4,000x in less than 600 days, right? Turtle Gang, 2023 to 2024. That's right. What is the video called of Maddie using the app? I couldn't find it. So I put it on Twitter. So twitter.com/Maddie ALLin is where you can find that video. I'll probably upload it to YouTube here one of these days. Let's see, roller coasters. Say what? That's right. And I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not because we've got both, right? We've got people who are here who don't believe that HEX could have gone up so much, but also people who have experienced it, and it's like, duh, of course HEX has gone up. Got my new Pulse chain shirt yesterday. That's very cool. Very, very cool. And people in this community also make their own t-shirts. Hey, check it out. I've never had more than 3% liquid. And so I never actually feel like I have any of my value. And I bet for you, that helps a little bit, right? Because you don't have the pressure of this huge financial decision, right? And so you can break it up into different pieces. And that's what the staking does. When you create a staking ladder, even with tshare.app, if you all are trying to onboard people, friends, family, and you want them to be able to get in without having you necessarily walk them through it, right? We did an episode 2 weeks ago where our friend Dr. Diva got on the show and we talked a lot about what is HEX, but she also used tshare.app and got onboarded from her debit card to having the HEX stake at tshare. All in that episode, and as you can see in the videos that I released on Twitter, it actually can be done in minutes, especially if you have Apple Pay. If you don't have Apple Pay, you might be typing in your information, but we've made it very easy for people to get in. And look, even $100 has turned into enough to buy a house for some people in some places in the country. I mean, it's amazing what a 4,000x can do, right? Even less. I mean, even if you didn't get in at the absolute bottom, right, on day 34, that's amazing. So sell. Go ahead. I know a lot of people who will be wanting to buy that up. Hey, Rango. It's very, very difficult sacrificing a HEX no matter how much you have rather than USDC or other coins because you know how valuable it's going to be, or you should know. To that point, yes, we are in the Pulse sacrifice phase. People can not get scammed and follow the instructions on Pulse.info to make sure that they're not sharing their seed words. I'm not sure if that's on there, but that's something people need to watch out for. And people can follow the instructions on Pulse.info in order to send money directly to the sacrifice chamber. The sacrifice address is where you make your sacrifice, political statement, basically, and then Richard could come along and distribute Pulse tokens to everybody who sacrificed in a very specific way. And so I think there's a lot of people who are going through the emotions now of how much to sacrifice. And again, a lot of the same information that we're going over today is going to be important, right? Because in crypto, we know that there's high price volatility, and that volatility, it's a feature, not a bug. And so when people freak out when their investment goes down 50% or 85%, that's an opportunity for the impatient people who sell the bottom to pay the people who sell the top, right? Or who just buy and hold, people who are patient. So HEX incentivizing people to delay gratification, to be patient. How's that working out for everybody? Hit the like button if you know what I mean. Sir Edward, good to see you. Okay, let me catch up with the comments. This money isn't just for me or you, it's to help create the change we wish to see. Yes. Yes. I love that. I was out here living my life just a day or two ago, and somebody reminded me that, I'm a streamer, so they were like, oh, make a tweet or something, do your job. Doesn't feel like a job, because it's so enjoyable to be a part of this community. But I was also in the middle of writing a message back to somebody, and it just hit me like, wow, everybody in HEX is helping others. So it's like the shortest, sweetest tweet I ever sent. It was like, boom, 150 people liked it instantly, because it's true, right? Because people in HEX are getting a lot of meaning out of helping others and building community. So I'm going to go through my list of 6 things here. Let me catch up with the comments. There's 61 watching and 60 likes. We appreciate it. Might have to change my name. Let's see. It's beautiful that HEX makes people hold their crypto. Imagine how many more people would have changed their lives if they just held Bitcoin for 5 years. That's right. Molly the investor, good to see you here. Shouted you out earlier in the stream. I love HEX, but just can't brave enough to stake. Okay, well, that's the cool thing about HEX. You don't have to stake. People who didn't stake are still doing just fine. And if you didn't sell out all your HEX when it did 100x, good job. The time locking, it can help people. And for me personally, I'm going to be experimenting more with different types of time locks, because I've already set myself up with a yearly staking ladder. And as I announced on CoinGang, I just did my 16th step on that ladder, which means I had a stake that was in for a year. My first year-long stake came out, and I decided, all right, I want to reinvest that so I have the same number of T-shares. And so I reinvested a big amount of money, sent it to my future self, felt horrible the whole time, had to psych myself up to do it. of course, because that delayed gratification doesn't always feel good on the delaying side of things. On the gratification side, I'm sure it's very nice. But so that's what I did is I made my 16th step of my ladder, and now I have to decide what to do with the liquid, right? Because I've always said that I like holding 1 to 2 to 5% liquid, because that's for a whole year. That's how much of my life I'm living. 1 to 5%. I hope I don't meet an early death. And boy, the folks at the Sense Foundation, they are really doing a great job in order to promote longevity research so that our health span can be extended. And so I went ahead and donated. My Pulse strategy was to sacrifice about 25% of my liquid bags, and I still have another 5 to 10%. If the price of HEX goes much higher near the end, I will sacrifice some more to get that advantage. But I also went ahead and I did a donation to the Sense Foundation, and that was about a quarter to a third of my total amount that I sacrificed. And it would be cool if my Sense donation, if the points get added up, so I get the bonus multiplier for that. But I don't even care. That felt great to do, to donate to medical research and to be able to get Pulse out of it, even if it's 75% of doing a direct contribution to the sacrifice address. Hey, I just put money towards saving my own life. That's pretty cool. Supporting scientists directly and promoting medical research. So I was very happy to do that, and I was happy to see that over $25 million was donated already in the first week of the Pulse launch. So that is very cool. And of course, there were over $600 million sacrificed, not including StakeGraph, not including the Sense Foundation, and not including certain other coins like Monero. That's amazing. That's the power of this community. That's the power of Richard building trust with everybody and proving that he has what it takes. If you guys didn't see Richard's interview with Ivan on Tech, stop what you're doing. Stop watching this episode and go watch that, because Richard revealed his master plan of how Pulse is going to completely destroy Ethereum. Like, if I was drinking coffee or water or anything, I would have spit it out all over everything once I heard Richard's master plan. It's genius. And, it has to do with, it's like making an offer they can't refuse with liquidity. That's my best summary of Richard's master plan. I mean, I love it. It's genius. It shows, it's proof of his genius and his deeper understanding of crypto than any other founder that's out there making things. And HEX is pre-viral. And Pulse is pre-viral. Having 35,000 people in Pulse and 40 or 50,000 people in HEX, that's pre-viral. That's like, you could fit that group of people into like a really big sports stadium, right? I'm not really sure, but I imagine. We're still early, and that's why we need to talk about this topic of sun well syndrome, because all of you who are putting $100, $200 in today, you could end up being millionaires very quickly in a year or two. And, don't put in more money than you really want to see go down 85% or even more, right? Because I don't know what's going to happen. but I know that the people I care about, I want them to know about HEX. I want them to have an easy way to get in, and I want them to be prepared for life-changing wealth, because there's so many people here in the community that have gotten there. So let's see. I'm trying to onboard my mom's friends. This is a great investment for our children's future. That's correct. Yeah, and I think so too. How's it going, Tolbarus? I know you've been on the channel before, friend of the channel, and a good psychology guy. Jenkins, crypto, how's it going? What's up, Maddie? Love your work. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm late. How long after the sacrifice do you think it'll take for Pulse to go live? I think it will be a day or 3 days, 1 to 3 days. That's my guess. It sucks when you see all these people talking about being wealthy and having money. It's exciting, but it's a bummer because here I am supporting, but not actually being able to take the leap in. Well, listen, people who put $1 into Bitcoin when it was a penny ended up with what? $6 million if they held just $60,000. $1, $6 million, right? So Hex is designed better than Bitcoin. Well, like, it doesn't suck. If you're in the first 100,000 people or the first million people even that finds out about Hex and you put in $10 or $100, I think you're going to be just fine. Personal opinion, not advice. Appreciate the rationality and the approach you bring to the table, Maddie. Your perspective is appreciated. My pleasure. I'm fortunate myself to be here with you all. Today I got paid and wanted to put a little aside for Hex or stake, but bills were due. You know how that used to be. Yes, of course. And you know, it's not something that I think that anybody takes for granted, right? Because everybody's been there, and I think really what you need to do is to just be patient, right? Because there was a lot of sacrifice, I know for me, that happened where I was delaying gratification, where I was, you know, not buying new clothes for a super long time, right? Like, even if my clothes were worn out or my shoes were worn out, you know, like never eating out, right? Making meals at home that I liked that were very inexpensive because I wanted to save my money for crypto, right? And so that didn't feel good, right? It's not supposed to feel good when you're in your accumulation period. And I don't even know how good it feels once you go past where you think you could end up. And so I think that, and again, these are paper gains. If everybody sold their Hex right now, the number would go to zero, right? So it really makes sense for everybody to take a balanced approach and to be patient. Let's see. Tried to get my high school friends into Hex, but they didn't follow through, and now they won't talk to me, and it hurts. Yes, this is a major problem, and I think so. I think it's hard to say for each person how you're going to be able to stay grounded and how you're going to be able to make friends with people who aren't just after your money, right? One of the recommendations of the professionals, by the way, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. One of the major tips of the professionals is to not tell everybody, to be very patient with who you tell and how much you tell about your wealth, because it does make people feel left out and it does make people feel bad, right? Because it's so personal, and because honestly, the government steals so much from people every which way they can. Taxes, that's one thing. Taxes are fine, but then the inflation is the part I don't agree with. And I think a lot of people feel that way too, because that's straight up theft. And so I think people end up fighting each other instead of fighting the system, right? And so if you're trying to like get back your friends, right, which is one option if it's right for you, right? If they're not toxic, if they're able to be reasoned with, but to identify that it's the system that's bad, not the people necessarily who have wealth. And remember, there are different kinds of wealth. The type of wealth in HEX, if you lock it up, you're going to maintain your wealth. If you don't lock it up, you will be diluted, right? The game isn't over until you end your stake. And then you decide whether you keep playing or not. So if people get addicted to trading, if people get addicted to anything, their wealth is going to disappear. And again, this is an area where I hope I can help people with my 11,000 hours of experience as a substance abuse and mental health counselor. I want to do my best here, right? So, so definitely identifying, that everybody, it becomes personal when the government is stealing your time and your money, right? When inflation happens, it's literally sucking the life out of you because that's less time that you have to work on yourself and to do the things that you enjoy and be with the people that you care about, right? With your kids, with your partner, with your family, right? With your parents, with yourself, enjoying the gift of life, right? Like, it's not going to happen if you have to work to make ends meet and there's no way out. While the powerful and wealthy, all they do is rent seek more and more, right? They raise prices, and that's not necessary. Listen, technology makes the world more abundant. And honestly, in developed countries, the population trends show that people end up having less kids when they have more wealth for some reason. And so it's important to remember that really the government and the inflation and the economic policy, that's what's kind of dividing people, in my opinion. And so even if we can get people in with $10, right? Even if we can help people to have hope, right? Because hope is something that can help change behavior. And people recognizing that they aren't too late is also a key to allowing them to get excited instead of getting hurt by, because that's why they're hurting you, is because they're being hurt by realizing that this system is very unfair. And I'm not going to tell you that HEX is going to make this system fair. I am going to tell you, as Richard would say, that that the HEX, the fake money in HEX is better than the government's fake money. Really good quote. Hexosaurus Rex, $5 super chat. Thank you. Good show, Maddie. Hodl. Thank you. Congrats on hodling. We're still early, no worries. FOMO is real. My girl asks, how's your investment? You barely look at it anymore. I told her HEX just goes up and to the right. It's stress-free. So not everybody has such an easy time as you do, Will, with their not constantly checking. And that's another one of the symptoms of sudden wealth syndrome, is being paranoid and worrying that just as suddenly as you got the wealth, that it will disappear. And so people, it's another name for it is ticker shock, which is similar to sticker shock. When you see the price of something, you're like, what? But in this case, it's, looking at the volatility of something and being obsessed with it. And so we want to encourage people to decrease the amount of time that they spend staring at the value of their investment. One strategy I have to recommend, very simple and small, but it might make a difference for people out there who are affected by this, would be to have a separate screen set up. Like for me, I have Crypto Pro is the app where I look at the price, and I have just my liquid bag, because My staked bag is bigger, of course, than my liquid bag. And so looking at a smaller percentage is still showing me how the price is moving and allowing me to get a feel for that. But it's not making me see the dollar value go up and down by such crazy amounts. So, because there is, and listen, when there's more opportunity in HEX, like now, when the liquidity is still relatively low, there's going to be more price volatility. And guess what? You shouldn't trade it, right? Trading will get you wrecked. You'll get left behind a lot of times. So that's what we've seen already. People got left behind when HEX did the next 10x. They were trying to trade to get little 2x's, right? Or less than that. Talking to someone who's never been in crypto or maybe just bought some Dogecoin about HEX is like speaking Chinese, and talking about Pulse is like speaking Dolphin. That is correct. Yes. And that's why tshare.app is designed for the target audience to be people who know someone who has done well in HEX. And the reason for that is because we wanted to make a shortcut for people who want to get into HEX but don't have time to learn about what is money, what is Bitcoin, what is HEX. This takes multiple hours of studying. And so in tshare.app, people are able to buy a couple $100 worth of T-shares without learning all those things. And so there's a 15-second game for people to choose between a 5, 10, and 15-year stake. They don't know that's what they're doing until they get to the right screen. But it's allowing people, it's giving people that simple choice of, do you want small, medium, or large? And then letting them know what they have as they go through the process of buying Ethereum, buying HEX, and staking it, time locking it into the future. So in some cases, it's best to just say, hey, I did really well in this, and I want you to do well too. And if you want to put $50 or $100 into it, here's a good way to do it. tshare.app, period, full stop, end of discussion. Right? I know that is no matter. T-shares, only invest what you can afford to lose. Act your wage, not your age, and HEX will treat you well. Small chunks at a time, patience. Good advice. And HEX Slams says thank you. Let's see. I had a hard time sacrificing HEX, but then I realized I'm staked and we'll make it back. Very good, very good. I'm going to buy me the best girlfriend money can get. Thanks, Pulse. Good job. JG Wentworth, anytime, brother, continue to save and dollar cost average on dips. Delay the gratification and you will win in the end. You're already ahead of 99% of the world. Remember that. Having any HEX right now is probably way ahead of the curve. Is it even worth staking $100? In my opinion, yes, it is worth staking $100. We saw a test account that only had, I think, $100 or $150 in it go up to 200,000, or I mean, it's off the charts. It's literally off the charts. That's what the 4,000x does, or 2,000x, 1,000x, right? $100 times 1,000x is $100,000. I would just stake what you're comfortable with for 10 plus years. It could change your life. Very true. Great that you help people with their mindset. My pleasure. Staking is best. Gain ownership in your currency. 100 for 5,555 days. That's cool. tshare.app was designed to help people stake $50 at a time to set up a stake to be able to have 4 steps on their ladder. A 15-year stake, a 10-year stake, a 5-year stake, and then hold some liquid. And we set the amount to be 500 HEX because at the time that was around $50, maybe a little bit less. Now it's more than $50. But the idea still stands, and people, if they go to go.tshare.app, you can stake any amount of HEX for any duration. And so you can find what's right for you. For a lot of people, that means having a staking ladder. So separating out some of their HEX, they can stake long, and some of their HEX, they'll keep in reserve so that they don't emergency unstake. Accumulate. Okay, and you're saying 5,555 days is better than 5 days. Yeah, staking for 5 days probably wouldn't be worth the transaction fees. Accumulate T-shares to allow money to start working for you. $100 is probably only worth it if you go 10 plus years. I mean, really, the truth is fees don't always kill you, right? I bought a whole Ethereum once and it was like $12 and the fees I paid were over 50%. I think I ended up paying $8 in fees, right? But how much is that worth today? $2,000. So, yeah, I mean, it could always be better, but I mean, that's a lot of money to a lot of people. $2,000 from 20. So, cheers and thanks, Maddie. I'll go watch that video. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Maddie. Forever grateful for meeting you and for you helping me with this investment. My pleasure. I'm so glad to hear that people, and really you deserve the credit, right? Because you're the one who did the work. I had to hear about HEX from somebody too, right? And I'm forever grateful to Richard and to Hexologists and to the Discourse Syndicate, right? And especially Richard for creating this. I even like YouTube sometimes because that's how I found Richard, right? But I can also take some credit because I'm the one who saved money. I'm the one who did the research, and I would apply that to you as well, right? We are the ones who are delaying the gratification. We are the ones creating this community. Even if you're a viewer, right? We have over 100 people watching right now live. These Hex Therapy videos, I'm thrilled, have been getting like 1,500 views. And that reminds me, one thing that I really want everybody to know now that I have a larger audience than I did when I started is how important I see it for people to take omega-369, which is also called fish oil. And this is usually recommended only if you're not on blood thinners, right? And so always check with your doctor before you start something. Omega-3 is supposed to be in the food that we eat because it is one of the ingredients that people need in order to stop their prefrontal cortex from leaking electricity. And your prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain that's responsible for decision making and being smart with money, problem solving, and all the other things that we do, healthy relationships, parenting, emotional regulation, anger management, right? And so any little thing you can do, there's lots of things that help the prefrontal cortex, getting better sleep, eating better, getting exercise, not hitting your head against things. These are all things that help the prefrontal cortex. But in particular, having omega-3 as a superfood, it's necessary because the electrical wires that make up your brain and the wires that go to your body as well, to your muscles, they need that electrical insulation, and that's called a myelin sheath. And in order for your body to make this electrical insulation, you need to have enough omega-3. And so I started taking 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of omega-3 per day with food, and it changed my life. I already thought my life was going pretty well. And then I started taking omega-3, and I started to be able to change behaviors that I never thought I'd be able to change. I lost 30 pounds of weight, and it's not because omega-3 makes you lose weight. It's because it put my brain into problem-solving mode, and it made me hungry for nutrition facts, not just for food, right? For food that would have high calories. And really, when we look at the future, when I look at the future of mental health treatment, I know that there's going to be a lot of probiotics involved because, we are what we eat. And it turns out that a lot of our mental health has to do also with our biome, the different healthy bacterias that live on and in our body, in our gut. The gut-brain axis tells you which foods to crave and what mood to be in, and a lot of other things. And so every little thing we can do to improve our mental health, right? And so this is something that I encouraged probably hundreds of my mental health clients to do, was to start taking omega-3. This is like $5 a month at Walmart or wherever you get groceries. You can get your omega-3. You can take 1,000 milligrams a day with food, as long as your doctor's cool with it. Or you can get it naturally by eating fish, tuna, salmon, that type of thing. This is something that can change your life because it's going to give your brain the materials that it needs in order to do that problem solving, in order to regulate those emotions. And for me, it was a noticeable difference. It's not just like taking vitamins. For me, taking a multivitamin did not have a noticeable effect. But once I started thinking more clearly, then I had this aha moment. And that's the most common reaction I've seen with people that I've encouraged to do this, is that they report even in a week, 1 to 4 weeks is all it takes to start thinking more clearly, where it's noticeable. And that's been so exciting to me, because it not only helps me, but it helps hundreds of other people. And if those people now go out and tell others, or if I get to rant about this, right, on Hex Therapy, and there's a lot of people who are interested, that's really helpful, I think, for a lot of people. So I encourage everybody to give it a try and to see what you think. And I know that a lot of you have already found a benefit of omega 369. It's difficult to comprehend the potential appreciation of a good crypto. That is correct. Thank you. I appreciate the streams. My pleasure. Thank you for being a part of the community of Hex Therapy. Pulse Lord, hey. First of all, I love your rap. I featured it in one of the tshare.app videos that I put up. It was either on the @tshare app account or on Maddie ALLin on Twitter. Each of our individual efforts are the true value in this world. Very true, very true. We don't need CoinMarketCap up and to the right forever. That's right. What's up, gang? T-shares for life. Taxes are theft. Can't agree more. Exactly, Vince. Let's see. People are agreeing about inflation. That must mean I'm kind of behind in the comments here. Paycheck to paycheck should not be considered middle class anymore. Correct. Hex is hearts. The money masters have taken over the globe. I would recommend $100 minimum to people. Good. What's the cost of gwei to stake? Let's see. I did a stake earlier today. It was about $2 or $3. I'm not sure how much gwei that comes out to. Maddie, please help me deal with this situation. All right, let's do it. The 6 ways to believe you deserve sudden wealth. It takes active work on these issues. So don't think that it's just going to happen without you putting in some effort. So even watching this stream, I think, is going to help you with sudden wealth syndrome. Give what you're feeling a name. Number 1, give what you're feeling a name. It seems very simple, but a lot of people, they get relief once they know that they're not the only one that's suffering from this issue. And once they understand the constellation of symptoms that are occurring: anxiety, depression, feeling on edge, physical stress, right? Obsessing, being disconnected from friends. These are all things that need to be addressed. Another thing that I've brought up that's relevant is feeling like an imposter, right? And so there's a psychological term called imposter syndrome, and it's kind of talking about 2 different things. And so really, it's not that you feel like you're a bad guy necessarily. Because there is a type of imposter syndrome where it's talking about, you know, you're hurting people or something. In this case, here's a quote that I found. It said, "It's as if we say, this person with so much money, it's not me." I think it's kind of more of a depersonalization or literally a shock. So when people go into shock, they get confused. They're not sure if this is reality or not, right? They're not feeling grounded. And so that's, I think, what I would call it. Being able to identify and manage the shock is step one. Give what you're feeling a name. Sunwell syndrome. Number two, make contact with a little self-esteem. These are things you can do to help with sun wealth, or because it's just part of regular good mental health. These are things that you can do before you're suddenly wealthy to prepare for it. People who prepared for sun wealth did better. If you're going to leave your kids a lot of money, educating them, that's helpful. Getting them prepared. So contact a little self-esteem. Do something that makes you feel good about yourself. If you Google big list of healthy activities, you can find self-care activities, right? And one of the most powerful things I've seen people be able to do for their mental health, other than take omega 369, is to do something I like to call walk the walk and talk the talk at the same time. Now, walking the walk means to do self-care. So whether it's brushing your teeth, giving yourself a new style, taking care of your hair or your skin, right? Making your favorite meal, listening to a good song, right? That makes you feel good. Whatever it is that you can do behaviorally as an activity to say, I care about myself in your behaviors, right? That's walking the walk. And then talking the talk is to esteem yourself while you're doing the self-care. So what would that look like? Self-esteem, it's an action verb. It is something you do, not something you have. And so when you esteem yourself, you speak highly of yourself, you praise yourself, you say nice things. And when you say, I'm awesome, or I did it, or I rock, these are all things that you can do to validate yourself, to esteem yourself. And just doing that on its own is okay, might help. Just doing self-care on its own might help. But when you combine these two, when you're telling yourself that you're worthy and that you deserve being cared for, and you're caring for yourself at the same time, that's how you change those deep beliefs that tend to build up inside of everybody. The feelings that you're not worthy, the feelings of guilt and shame and anger, the self-loathing, right? These are things that can be worked on. They're very hard. Some people go through their whole life feeling bad about themselves, and they don't get any relief because they're not following the right steps. They're not doing the right combination, right? And so walking the walk and talking the talk at the same time, self-care plus self-esteem, can change negative self-beliefs. Good. So number two, we're gonna do something that makes us feel good about ourselves, even if it's small, right? Number three, count your lucky stars, but acknowledge what you did, taking risks, doing research, that paid off. Delaying gratification, there was a cost to what you did. In Sunwell syndrome, a lot of people, they feel guilty and they feel not worthy, that they didn't deserve, that they didn't do enough, right? Because they're feeling bad and they're withdrawing and like recovering from the struggle of living paycheck to paycheck. Once that struggle goes away, you might be feeling empty. You might be feeling guilty, right? So you have to acknowledge what you did to get there. And remember, other people might still have the opportunity to do this for a long time to come. Do you think the 30%, 40% APY for locking an average of 5 or 6 years, do you think that that's going to go away? It could, but I don't think it's going to go away because I've looked at the deep game theory. So without getting too much into that, what I can tell you is today, the opportunity seems to still exist to me because I still have my life savings in HEX. So recognizing that you did something of value, even if it's not fair, we're not saying it's fair, we're saying that you did your part. You were early to something and you delayed gratification, and that's being highly rewarded. And so it's okay to count your lucky stars, but acknowledge what you did, taking risks, doing research, delaying gratification, that paid off. Number 4, do a routine or behavior that makes you feel like yourself. Getting grounded, right? And so for me, what did that look like? It looked like going to the store and going to the 50% off rack and getting some dress clothes really cheap. Why did that make me feel like myself? Because that made me happy when I couldn't afford to be buying clothes, or that wasn't part of my habit, to buy expensive clothes, to pay full price. I really enjoyed finding a deal. That was rewarding to me, right? And even to the point where, people who know me well, they know that was my thing, right? I would get $70 dress pants and I would pay $10 for them, right? Because I waited, because I was patient, and then I would get a deal. And when the deal was there, I would strike. And so I did that. I did that just the other day. The pants I have on right now, they make me connect with, my younger self because I've got these maroon dress pants on, right? So I don't know if you can see them in this light, but the point of the matter is I got some discount dress pants that make me feel good about myself, make me feel like myself, and even make me connect with older styles that I may have worn when I was younger, and now I'm kind of renewing that side of myself. Even this reminds me of how I used to wear a necklace long ago, and so these little ways that we can remind ourselves who we are, right, and what our values are. So that's going to take us into number 5. Number 5 of the top 6 ways to believe you deserve sun wealth. Identify and grow your positive values. Write down your long and short-term goals, right? When you value yourself, right, that's one thing. But then what are some of your other values? You might believe in educating others, in helping others. You might believe in making the world a better place. And you want to find ways to do that. You want to find ways to give back, and identifying values is a little bit different than taking action on helping others, but it's really identifying what are some conflicts, what are some ethical debates that you can have with yourself. For me, I ran into an ethical debate whenever I was deciding, should I make T-shirt.app free? Should I not take a fee? We could have baked a fee in there, and that would have been normal. But guess what? I discovered my values because I was talking with other people about them, because I was exploring them, I was writing them down, I was communicating them to others, right? I was talking out loud. I'm a verbal thinker. It's hard for me to think about stuff if I'm not talking. And that's, it's really helpful for me to be able to talk things out with people. So I had to discover what my values are today and build upon the values I already had. For me, that example of not taking fees on T-shirt.app, that's extremely meaningful to me because I've put my own money into the servers, along with future us, the developer that I'm partnering with. We put our own money down to pay for the servers and to make sure that we'd have the things that we needed. If we left that money in HEX, it would have gone up a lot, right? But I feel good about the fact that I was able to give back, pay it forward, and this is helping to relieve some of this guilt, some of this sudden wealth syndrome. So that's going to look different for everybody. But hey, donating to the Sons Foundation, that's another example of something that fits with my values to try to solve the human suffering that happens due to aging. And so working with the Sons Foundation, that's another way that people can give back and express and act on their values once you know about them and once you explore and develop them. Number 6, start helping others, build community, onboard people to small amounts of HEX, and let HEX do the heavy lifting, and then mentor other people if they have questions about their sudden wealth, right? We've already seen it's only been a year and a half in HEX. That's not that long, in my opinion, to set it and forget it. Let's see. I was helping somebody do a Pulse donation. Well, no, it was a sacrifice. We were doing a Pulse sacrifice, and we found a stake that was such a small amount. It might have been $50 or $100 that I had been giving away $50 to people if they would go through the little training I set up to teach them about HEX back in like May 2020. And sure enough, we found one the other day. It had already turned into $9,000. An amount that, even though $50 was a lot to me, like it wasn't a lot, to get a group of people together and say like, hey, somebody could win this, like a group of my friends, hey, somebody could win this, but everybody's going to get an education. Everybody's going to learn how to do it if they want to do it. And so being able to find that, and then for the person to be able to take some gains or to reinvest it, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to be in HEX, to be in something that is this good. And for me, it's another gift to be able to help people get it faster than I did. The people who were in HEX from the beginning, we didn't realize how valuable T-shares were. We just thought having regular HEX was okay. But now we're seeing the force multiplier go into effect. And the HEX that you have staked, it's growing twice as fast. It's having twice the price appreciation. Begging my husband to stop using Robinhood and move that money my way to HEX. Gain wisdom and maturity in the HEX community. Believe in yourself. I dare you. I just want my penalty fees paid to me from unstakers. There you go. Dare accepted. Very cool. I gotta catch up here on the comments. Hey, Maddie, can you talk about the buy wall on Uniswap v3 and the game whales are playing? There was an article I retweeted about how Overwatch, a known whale in the HEX community, and a billionaire, I think, really cool dude actually, he has a company that is in the same city that he has his, I guess, investment firm, Overwatch Partners. We just call him Overwatch. The guy who is involved in the community and participates in voice chats and makes donations to different channels and stuff, trying to support the community and recognize what everybody's doing to support each other. It was a press release on Yahoo Finance, I think, talking about how he has a company now that is reporting their HEX gains and who is, I believe, the leader in the Pulse donations. And so there are whale games going on. I don't like to talk about whale games very much because I'm like, I don't know, arrogant and disillusioned, and I think like the whales are listening, or at least somebody who works for them is listening. So, I like the idea of making new whales. I like having whales that are ethical and good people who support the community, who uh, don't get involved with corruption and stuff. And so I think we're off to a good start in HEX. I think a lot of new whales are being created. I think the whales that we have are good people and want what's best for everybody else. Listen, whales can be your best friend in the crypto game because they're the ones who stand to benefit the most in the end from not dumping the price. So, what games will they play? If I was a whale, I would go all in at the end. I would pump the price up. I would mess with the transaction stuff so that it would be really expensive. So people would need a lot of Ethereum to make a trade for like the last 2 hours, or maybe I would start a little bit earlier than that. But in probably the last 2 hours of the sacrifice phase, I would dump tons of money in to steal the top spot or to get a better position to make it so that everybody doesn't realize how much money is actually going in so that other people don't have time to put their money in too. I would even pump the price of HEX all the way up to the moon. I would pump it up as high as it would go. I would create liquidity. I would have already created liquidity, and then I would pull the liquidity so that there's even less HEX available so that the price could shoot up. The price could shoot up to $5 maybe, or something wild. But it'd be very hard for people to sell that because their transaction wouldn't go through because the Ethereum network would be spammed. And that would be more proof that Pulse is needed, right? If the transaction fees got up to $200 to do a swap to sell your HEX, right? Because maybe you want to sell a little bit of HEX to take advantage of that. So yeah. And then their HEX is more valuable for that like 30-minute time window. And then they get a higher ratio of Pulse. That's a pretty cool whale strategy. Yeah. So what kind of chaos is unleashed? And now that I've said this publicly, I don't really care. But don't bet the farm on this, right? For me, I'm sitting here like, yeah, I'll put a little bit more my liquid bag into Pulse if the price pumps up, but I've also got like a hefty Ethereum fee, like amount of gas, like just waiting on deck in case the network gets so spammed that it's hard to get a transaction through. Because that would be a good whale game if that's if that's technically possible. That's what the whales might do. The other thing you have to consider is the origin address. What is the origin address going to do? I'm like the only one who thinks the origin address is going to go in, and the only one who thinks that the final price of everything sacrificed is going to be 10 billion. Right now, we're at 0.6 billion going into Pulse. I think it's going to be 10 billion. I think the OA is going to get in at the end and is going to be stalking whatever whale gets in. But who knows? I mean, there could be a showdown between the OA and the whale fighting in the last minutes to stop each other from getting a transaction through. I mean, imagine that. Imagine the horror and the glory. Wonder what people are going to think about all this. Hey, you asked. And that, I mean, buy wall on Uniswap V3, well, that's targeted liquidity. So guess what? You could pull that easier. It's cheaper to set that up. So that might be a defensive move, in fact, for somebody who's already gone all in. A whale that's already gone all in could use targeted liquidity on V3. See, this is why I don't answer questions like this at the beginning of the stream, because it's only the people who have watched this long who are going to hear this part of the really good game theory. Listen, I'm a psychology dude, right? I'm the hex psychology guy. Like, I like game theory, okay? That's the best part of crypto for me. Life-changing gains, that's cool. Sudden wealth, that's cool. Don't get me wrong. I like that. I like that part. Don't take that part away. But the game theory, being able to predict how the world is going to work in the future based on the incentives that are being created, that's where it's at. And like I said before, listen to Richard's talk on the Ivan on Tech channel. It's going to blow your mind. It will literally blow your mind what Richard is planning to do. And he can even talk about it publicly because Ethereum doesn't stand a chance. Pulse is already happening. I think Pulse is going to launch 1 to 3 days, 0 to 3 days after the sacrifice phase is gone. So that's like a week and a half from now. Everything in crypto is going to change. There's going to be like 2 periods in crypto. It's going to be like before Pulse and after Pulse, right? And don't be surprised if the price of Pulse dumps super hard, and that's going to be an opportunity too. So that's another thing I'm waiting for is I got my little, hex bag on the side, my liquid hex. I can put a little bit more. If the price of hex pumps up really high, I can put more into the sacrifice because I'll get more credit for it then. And pay a really high transaction fee, right? And then maybe I'll get more pulse on the dip if there's a big dip. Some people are predicting. Go watch the Quant Gang from this week. A long stream, I know. You watch it on 2x in about an hour and a half, and you're going to hear 4 different strategies on how to play this. I only have one of them. And shout out to Quant Gang for being so awesome to be able to discuss different topics without pissing each other off. It's really cool. Benny Bills, how's it going? How's it going, brother? Sunwell syndrome is a real thing with Hex. Stick it till you make it. When you make it, remember what you learned here. Very good, very good. Are there any other whale games I need to talk about? V3, targeted liquidity. You can remove it. That's going to make Hex be able to pump. I mean, as a whale, it feels really good to dump Hex on the market a little bit just to shake out the weak hands, right? Because if there's somebody who got a 1000X and they want to buy something, instead of buying lots of something in the future, they want to take some of that gratification now, you're going to shake them out. They're going to sell their Hex. Once the price goes up to 17 cents and then it falls all the way down to 7 cents, you're going to shake out all these people. And then you're going to get the traders to come in and pump the price up anyway. But these are buying opportunities or just holding opportunities or an opportunity to just stay out of it. I didn't know the price dipped to 7 cents until I was watching other Hex streams because I'm not watching it that closely because that'd be bad for my mental health. There's so many people who have said they just sacrificed at the beginning of Pulse because they wanted it to be good for their mental health. Guess what? Even if Hex does 100x in the next, I don't think it's going to do 100x. If it did a 10x this week, just for a few minutes, then it goes back down to where it is now, or less, right? People are still going to do just fine. I remember the adoption amplifier, the buy-in period for Hex when it launched was 360 days, not 14 or 19 days. And guess what? People who bought the first day, which I didn't do, but people who bought it, and then the people who bought the next day got twice as much Hex because the price went down so much. Everybody did fine. Everybody is up a lot. So I don't think we need to worry too much. And honestly, at some point, you're just going to look around the community and you're going to realize what people are saying is true. Like trading is probably not good for your mental health, but it's also probably not good for your bottom line either. So this is a great question. Keep asking great questions, people, and I'll keep giving you great answers as much as I can. Stake to wealth, yay! T-shirt.app rocks. It's a genius way to get people involved at a cheap price and show them the system works at the same time. Thank you. As I have talked about before, again, it's going to do the heavy lifting because the price of HEX could go up so much that somebody bought for $50, it goes up 10x. Now they want to learn more. They come to the community streams. They ask you. They're excited about it. They want to learn on their own. They use the resources that are already there. They read at maddieall.in. There's a link to Taylor Kennedy's articles. They are using everything the community has to offer. And then they feel like they did it themselves. And that's highly rewarding to people. And then there'll be another case, right? Once they put in $1,000, then they get 100x on top of that. Could happen. Happened in Bitcoin. HEX is designed better. And then boom, now they're going to start onboarding people with tshare.app and other amazing stuff that gets created by myself and other people. Cool. Okay, good question there. Thank you, Ovidian, for the $5 super chat. Hexicans move in silence and make smart moves. I like that. Well put, well put. Dr. Moore, namaste, Hexicans. Good day to you too. Stake $100 for 10 or 15 years and boom, you'll be happy you did. Lock in that t-shirt right before Pulse launches. I'm working overtime to get in more so that later in life I can chill. What does lock in t-shirts mean? It just means time lock your HEX. Hi Hexies, hi Maddies. Yes. Put your thumb on the thumbs up. I've been taking Omegas for a bit now. They're brilliant for the brain. I'm glad you're doing this. I love the intentions behind your app. However, I'm concerned about the ETH fees for a 5,555-day stake for only 500 HEX. We've been lucky enough to see ETH fees as low as $2, $5. Again, when I bought Ethereum, I paid an $8 fee for a $12 coin. Now it's a $2,000 coin. So while I wish that Coinbase didn't charge such high fees back then, I could still tell you that I'm confident that a $5 fee is not too much to pay, even if people are paying it multiple times. I'm even doing it. As an OG, I am making $50 stakes, $40 stakes, $80 stakes, right? Because it's so much fun to hit that juicy button and play the game. So it doesn't always make sense, but we put a lot of time and thought into it. So thanks for your kind words and for your critical feedback. And remember, go.tshare.app, people can stake any amount, more or less. A few fillets of salmon a week is a great source of omega-3s. Very true. Stake your HEX. Stake ends. The amount of HEX needed to lock for T-shares only goes up in HEX value. Been taking omega-3 and krill oil for 10 years. Thanks for the input. Glad to hear it. Can you tweet the omega-369 you take? Let me see. I might be able to easily put it here in the show notes. Omega-3, there it is. A lot of it is going to be the same. There is an option for vegan that I don't have the link to right now, but here it is. Yes, I'm not sure, this might actually be my referral link. I don't know. I don't think I've had any referrals. And go ahead and look it up without the referral link. Even it's just Sam's Club, Members Mark, Omega-3, or any of your local brands. I'm currently struggling with checking the balance and chart 24/7, not sleeping, poor diet, not sure why, we rich. Well, that goes back to ticker shock and Sun-Well syndrome. And what you can do is get grounded, start working in other healthy behaviors to shake off that depression, getting some exercise, volunteering, helping with other people. Watching more Hex streams might help. If you go to hexstreamers.com, might make it better or worse. Start experimenting and practice thought stopping. You can look this up. You can find some good meditation tapes on YouTube, I'm sure, about to stop thinking obsessively about something. It's called thought stopping. And that's where you use mindfulness and meditation, even guided meditation, to calm your mind and to stop obsessing over the numbers, because it can be shocking. It can be something that your brain keeps coming back to because you have a lifetime of wealth being accumulated and your brain wants to hold on to it. And so you're obsessing for a reason. Your brain is trying to tell you something. Your brain is trying to tell you, don't mess this up. And then your mind is trying to tell you, wait, I can't really control it. I'm not sure how to not mess it up. I'm not sure how I got it. It doesn't feel real. And just tell yourself, it's okay. And then find something to focus on, right? And then every time your mind keeps going back to that obsession, you can thank yourself for becoming aware of that. Like, oh, thanks, brain, for like reminding me not to mess this up. And then be like, oh, that's just what brains do. It's okay. Literally, you can say that. And that will allow you to not harshly judge yourself when you're having an obsession, because that can still feel bad. But it allows you to learn how to focus on other things when you're like, oh, that's okay. Let me go back to focusing on my breathing. Oh, I noticed it again. You know what? That's what minds do much of the time, is they wander. And I'm going to honor and love this space inside my mind and recognize that that's what it's going to be, is a busy station full of thoughts and feelings coming and going. And I can make this space a kind and loving space. I can make it a welcome home, and welcome home to whatever thoughts come my way. And I can thank my brain for bringing them up and then move on to the next thought of focusing on breathing or focusing on the task at hand. Benny, what would be your post river all-in call ratio, ROI, if you were on omega-3 versus your prior rate? What brand of omega-3? Okay, so any brand of 369. It's a little bit more specific than fish oil. Fish oil can still be good. I use omega 369. I use the Sam's Club member mark or anything similar. I dumped my whole monies and other crypto into Hex and staked it for 5 to 9 years. I don't regret one bit of it. Cheers to the Hex community. Cheers to you as well, sir. So same, but faster. Good answer. Let's see. New chapter. Whole mega fish oil, really good. Amazon has it. Cool. What about live? You're spot on with these health tips. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate the input. Funky fresh. Let's see. I think my first question was meant for live. I'm heading to the kitchen to get your nightly omega 369. Very good. Your cat always joins you because of the fish smell. There you go. And remember, people, taking omega 369, having your prefrontal cortex in a better place, that's good for you too, because it gives you stronger hands. Let's see. I'm one steak away from being a squid. I'm really resisting doing it right now because I want to see what happens over the next 2 weeks, but I'm a late joiner and I'm so excited to level up to squid. Congratulations, my friend, Hex Dragon, or Hex Squid, soon to be. Good stuff, Maddie. Level up before Pulse launches. I like how people are interacting with each other in the chat. Tough to say. It's up to you. So true, Maddie. Self-validation and self-care. Locking in squid now is not a bad decision. Either way, man, don't put too much weight on the ranks. The fact is, the close to squid is great. Hex position So just do what makes sense. Hex19, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you and all Hexicans for the community. Onboarded both daughters for Pulse sacrifice. Amazing. Well done, my friend. Hex19, you rock. Sun Wealth. We think the purpose of wealth can often be distilled into 3 objectives: protect capital to stay rich, grow capital to get richer, and enjoy the capital. Some people can feel good about taking gains. It's all about winning the small battles. Pile up those small wins every day. They are not Louis Vuitton pants. They're expressmen. Teaching financial truths to the world. In a world where they hide their truth about finances. Wealth is determined by taking the total market value of all physical and intangible assets owned, then subtracting all debts. Essentially, wealth is the accumulation of scarce resources, like Hex. Hexicans are the most giving community out there. How can you not love Maddie? Oops, I skipped down. Let's see. Let me get back up there. That seemed like a happy comment. Oh, wow. I'm really behind. Okay. How can you not love Maddie? This dude radiates positivity. I can feel it coming through the screen. I'm really glad to hear that. As you can see, it pumps me up even more. Peter Lamb, pay it forward. 1.5 years is nothing. 1.5 years is 1/10 of 15 years. Exactly. Hex is awesome. If you didn't have at least 3 stakes set, I would set those first before worrying about Pulse sacrifice. A 5, 10, and 15-year stake. New whales are being created as we speak. It's a beautiful thing. I think so too. Hexican whales. What's up, Hexicans? Hey, Crypto Gym Rat. Good to be watching a Maddie stream. Thank you. Good to see you, man. Was going over the numbers, theory, and game mechanics with the Hexican I onboarded and was explaining Pulse Chain application. Increased interest. Very good, HexDex. Thank you, HexFlex, for the $4.99 super chat. Have you always been this positive and calm when stupid things get sold or people get emotional? I've been watching you for 6 months, on and off, and a lot lately. Well, I have been accused of being very calm and positive for a long time, but it's something that has grown with working on myself. And I didn't always work on myself. It actually took being a therapist and being in a position where I was able to be motivated to give other people health advice and be a professional. And then I saw their lives being changed. I said, I want that too. And that was another aha moment in my life. A light bulb went off in my head, and I said, wow, I can work on myself. This is something that works. And so I would say that was a turning point as well. Thank you for noticing. You guys see, the more positivity that y'all give me, the more that I'm going to have to give you. And so I appreciate it. You're not alone, Maddie. Thank you. Hopefully the OA sacrifices. I mean, that's going to reduce my amount, but the OA has always helped me, in my opinion. Oh my gosh, let it happen, please, Maddie. And sell pay-per-view tickets to the whale show. Exactly. Dr. Moore doesn't think it'll happen. The OA is the origin address. Fingers crossed. Hexflex, thank you again for the $4.99 super chat. To make it clear, I'm a big fan. That was a serious compliment and question. Did you develop this over the years and through school, or are you just rad? I would say it was by having really good mentors and having other very loving, genuine people in my life who are also committed to helping others. And guess what? Even if I can't interact with all of you and hear what you're saying other than through the comments, like, we are part of each other's lives, right? And like, we are a community that meets on Thursday nights and talks about hex therapy, becoming the best versions of ourselves possible, right? And so I consider all of you part of my healthy environment that I'm trying to create. Who we are and who we become depend in part on whom we love. It's a quote from a book called A General Theory of Love. And I love this quote because it's true, right? It's the people that we listen to, that we help ourselves, that are going to influence us. and so we can be the change that we wish to see in the world. Moods are contagious, and so it's really cool to be a part of a community that is doing well. And guess what? There will be bad times as well, right? It's not just, it seems like a line straight up, but really, I hope that there continues to be high volatility, because that allows the price to go up more. It allows people to buy the dips to practice those good behaviors. And so I know it's emotionally stressful, but in order to have the best of both worlds, we need to adjust our own behaviors and emotions to get the skills that we need so that those opportunities can still exist for people in the future to buy the dip, right? There were no dips. Nobody could buy the dip. Listen, I'm full-time crypto, which means I have to sell a little bit of my crypto here and there. Luckily, I've had gains in other coins, and but at the end of the day, selling crypto, it feels bad until I think about it like, hey, that's somebody else's opportunity. I never bought into coins I didn't believe in. And right now, of course, HEX is the overwhelming majority of my bags, over 95% of my portfolio. But that's the point, is that even if you sell and miss out on the next 1000x, somebody else could get that, and that could help them too. So I really try to find the positive. So I'm glad that people can see that. Thank you very much. Best to come across those who endure. I hope you're going to live stream the finals. I'll be there. Yeah, well, I'll have to look. And so if people go to pulselead.xyz, that's the leaderboard that I check that has the countdown to the end of the Pulse sacrifice. It has the leaderboard. Love it. OA versus whales, that'd be epic. And we didn't know the OA would stake before big payday. That helped us all. Exactly. Everybody was scratching their heads. I didn't predict that, okay? I did not predict that. I was wrong. Few did. There were some people who predicted it. And I've learned a lot since the big payday, since a year into the HEX project. Game theory is amazing. Once a poker player, always one. Axis, how's it going? Another guest on Coin King this week, and a streamer who I very much appreciate. Thanks for the love. The past 3 RH videos, brain bomb exploding. Exactly. I think anything is possible, whereas so many just think it's over. The OA doesn't have ETH. It's been moved to stablecoins, or does he still have ETH from the adoption amplifier? Yeah, probably. Well, that's a good question for Gunther, the accountant, and to look at the audits that have been done. Simple answer, I think so. I think probably still has some ETH, probably sold some of it. Where do you think we get these tops from, right? The OA is the Big Bang. Okay, fair enough. I took off work the last 4 days for this reason, so I could stare at my computer. Well, there you go, Benny. Wanted to do that actually, but can't be pushed to keep me working. Glad I'm staked through all these games, can't shake me out. The wick was so fast I couldn't touch it. 800 million pulse will be life-changing one day. HEX is going up, not down. HEX can go sideways and it beats everything with ease. What is the Ivan interview with Richard Maddie mentions? It's Ivan on Tech. Richard appeared on a show. He's in the thumbnail, and very, very good listen. I bought at 10 cents limit and did not fill at 8 cents. Oh, market bought it at 10 cents. Limit did not fill at 8 cents. Yeah, I had a problem with that too. Ivan on Tech channel. Price of Pulse can only go up from 0. Of course, after it starts trading, it can go up or down. That's the beauty of tshow.app. It does most of the heavy lifting right out of the gate and in minutes. Yeah, We released it. HEX is up. What? 2x, 3x, 5x? Wow. Much faster than I thought. Pulse will be slowly burned 25% fee. There are many transactions, Pulse, and it burns millions and billions of Pulse a year. It's about breaking through people's brainwashing and giving them the truth. We should have staked for a little longer. Staked for 3, 2, 1 days because the number was cute. Noobs, go over a year for the bonus. $50 stakes are stupid. Sure. Some people think that. Go.tshow.app, you can do any amount. If they're beyond 10 years, they're fine. What's the return? Again, on $100, it'd be, if you bought the lowest point, it'd be a 2000x, which is $100, $200,000 on $100. Most people didn't get the lowest price, but even if you're up 100x, that's turning $100 into $10,000. Not bad. I recommend Thorn Research Omega-3 with CoQ10. You can see selling that wallet with low stakes individually. Choose the vegan Omega-3, whole foods like seeds and nuts. People said $50 stakes were useless a year ago too. We all know how those stakes are doing. They were when ETH fees were crazy. Yeah, ETH fees were crazy. I'm still sacrificing, putting on my FOMO pants, also holding out hope for last minute mayhem, but sacrificing along the way in case it doesn't happen. There you go. Good to see you, Crypto J. I'm referring to the sacrifice ranking. I got pushed out of my rankings from 300 to just out of the top 1,000. Wow, that's still good, Lehman Ortega. Very good. You know, I'm going to drop another little nugget here for you people who are still listening. How do we know the OA isn't like a big number of those top 1,000, right? That it split up into small wallets, and that's how we're getting, boom. Just said it. That could be that all those $50,000 stakes, or sorry, $50,000 Pulse donations from separate accounts could be controlled by the same person. I'm not sure what the math works out. Like, my brain wants to tell me that like having two $50,000 contributions might be better than having a $100,000 one, or it might be exactly the same. Somebody who is better at math could think about volume bonuses and ramping and stuff and tell me. Don't sell your HEX. Pulse lead.xyz. I've evolved into a Charizard. Very, very good. Okay. Oh, we got a troll. Cool. We're doing our job here. We will have tradable Pulse T-shares minted, perhaps. Yeah, that'd be interesting. The technology is there, I believe. Kudos to onboarding your daughters. I'm still trying to onboard my dad. He does not believe where the world is going. Yep. A lot of people will get in for $100 to $200 even just to try it. Carpet up. Great info, Maddie. My pleasure. Hi from Florida. Hello to you too. Get the money. X19 is the best. We made it, guys. We're all going to have girlfriends. Funny, Benny. Very good. Let's see. I love Pulse, and I haven't even used it yet. Where can I buy HEX? With limit order, matcha, match.xyz. Is where I've tried it before. There's one other place. I can't remember where. Matcha.xyz. Don't want to be stuck at the end with nothing sacrificed because you gambled. There we go. Matcha.xyz. I don't think so. OA knows to not get high in your own supply. I'm not talking about, okay. Oh, good point. I'm not talking about the Pulse OA. I'm talking about the HEX OA. Maddie, what's your price prediction for Pulse after 6 months from launch? I know we're not supposed to try to guess the price right here. Just throw a number out. I said that on Quant Gang. It was something crazy, like 20 cents. But remember, you're not going to get 10,000 per dollar if the Hex OA goes in with like 10 billion. You're not going to get that much, I don't think. Or the total supply is going to increase, and then my price prediction is going to go down. Honestly, probably the price is going to be like 0.00001 or something. You know, like I don't know, like what is 10,000 divided by $1? Or sorry, $1 divided by 10,000. That's 0.0001. So a thousandth of a cent. Is that what? Or 1/10,000th of a cent? Yeah, a thousandth of a cent. That sounds right. Right there. Thousandth of a cent, that's what I'm paying for. If I'm getting 10,000 Pulse for $1. That's what we're all buying in for. That's the starting price in essence. Thanks for answering all my questions. Sorry for seeming like a troll. I'm having connection issues. No worries. What do you guys mean, not get high on your own supply? I think maybe what some people were thinking is that the Pulse origin address would be recycling ETH or USDC, which, I mean, could be, but I doubt it. And I think, so I don't think that that's happening. Nobody's told me that it's happening. Probably talking about recycling funds. But remember, there's the origin address for Pulse, but then, which is the sacrifice address, but then there's also the origin address from Hex. So awesome. Well, we're closing in on 2 hours, and I hope that Crypto Knights of the Roundtable are getting ready to go on if they haven't already. Ooh, I love the thumbnail I made for this one. I have fun making thumbnails, you guys. It's true. It's true. Here we go. Yes. A Knight's Vow. Okay, so this is on Wasabi's channel. I love these guys. Wave3 TV, Balliot Brand, Motley the Investor are all live here on Wave3 TV's channel. Make sure, so we're going to go raid them. I'm going to drop the link here. Thank you all for coming to Hex Therapy Live. It has been my pleasure. This has been a very enjoyable discussion. We talked about the 6 ways to believe you deserve sudden wealth. It's working on yourself. It's being giving to others. It's identifying what you're going through. It's having a routine, getting grounded, identifying your positive values, building community, telling people about tshare.app if you want, acknowledging what you really did was valuable, acknowledging your luck and your effort, working on your self-esteem and your self-care, feeling good about yourself. That's a wrap, folks. So everybody go, tell them who sent you to Crypto Knights of the Roundtable, Maddie ALLin. Go ahead, like and subscribe. Follow me at allmylinks.com/allin and Twitter, YouTube, all of the different places. I really appreciate it, you guys. This is really MaddieAll.in goes to allmylinks.com/allin. Sometimes it doesn't work for some people's browsers. I appreciate you all. You all rock. Let's all get rich together and make the world a better place and feel good about it. Oh, guess what? I'm doing a special stream on Saturday with Blaze Makes Music. So that is part of our psychology gang. And this is our monthly show that I know I'm looking forward to, and I hope you are too. So come check it out, and we will talk more about the psychology of Hex and all things that are related to psychology and self-care. So what's my catchphrase? Oh yeah, stake wisely and sacrifice wisely, my friends. Peace out.